Hey guys, welcome back to LifeUpEducationTV. In today's video, I wanted to cover another question that I found on Quora that talks about what is toxic positivity and how can we stay away from it. And I wanted to give out my answer to that. So what is toxic positivity? The only way I can think of positivity being a toxic is the time where people become cynical about believing in positivity. I tell you what I mean. So, when there is a situation and if the reality of how you actually see it doesn't match up with positivity, but you try, force yourself, in a sense, you force yourself to be positive about that situation, and that's not gonna last for a long time. And if you keep going with that forced positive perception where, like I said, it's not matching with your actual cognition, the recognition of the situation, then later on you could possibly become cynical about the situation and completely abandon the positivity. You can completely blame on the positivity and say, I've tried it, I try to stay positive, but nothing good is happening for me. This is bullshit. Positivity is bullshit. Let's quote it as what it is. Let's stay, with how it actually is, which is not positive. And then, eventually you become kind of cynical about being positive about something. And that's the possible toxic way I could only come up with. This is the only way. But I think quite frankly, there's no alternative. You don't have a choice. I think, yes, that is kind of, that could sound BSing, right? And then, yeah, it could be dangerous because, what is actually going on versus how you're forcing yourself there's a gap. Then, yeah, it is very much possible that you become cynical like that. But I think in the end of the day, if you still want to produce a result, if you still want to focus on solution, regardless of whatever happens, there's no alternative. You have to believe in something that encourages you rather than make you cynical and not want to even try. And there are two things I want to add to this. First of all, yes, so given this risk, I think one way I found is that you don't have to be positive at all the time, nor definitely you don't want to be negative at any time. I mean, sometimes it can't help, but as much as you can, you shouldn't. You don't want to be, or maybe it's me, but I don't want to be. And the thing is, I kind of stay at the center. Many times when, I'm naturally more positive. I'm naturally more toward the positive, or I pull from positive more. But don't get it confused with being naive versus realistic, practical positivity. I'm not ignoring the negatives. I understand, I recognize the negatives, and then I still decide to believe in positive. So I'm not ignoring them, And I think that's the vulnerability that a lot of people miss, is that they try to force the fake positivity and denying the negatives versus accepting the negativity and still decide to stay positive because there's an alternative, and you ultimately know that that's the only way to go if you want to produce a result or if you want to focus on solution. So that's an approach that I take. And another thing I wanted to share is, I think, people who call it I just want to keep it real, I just want to quote it as it is, and then in reality they're just being really cynical. In reality they're just being really negative, and then quote it as positivity as a bullshit. Let's really quote it as it is. I think these people are essentially the amount of positivity that you can like really push through, like it's really the direct translation of how strong you are. Like it's the same indication. And I think many times there's a trigger for everyone to be negative. Like the reason why you want to be negative is not so hard to find, but the reason why you want to be positive oftentimes is very difficult to find. And for people who don't even try to be positive and just quote it as it is, like how it is, and just quote it real, I don't think they're being any real. I think they're just being weak. I think that matters too.